Hello everyone, welcome back on the Agri Adventures channel for this week interview. So today we are traveling back in McLaren Vale. For who doesn't know, we are in South Australia at the moment, and we are gonna speak with Chester. Chester Osborn is the chief winemaker for Darenberg, but is also the chief distiller for Settlers Spirits Distillery. Welcome, Chester.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Simon.
Okay, so Chester, that's pretty interesting. The painting that you have behind you says a lot about the location.
Yeah, this painting. I didn't realize when I was buying it. It actually, I didn't look very closely at it. I just like the style of it, the way the paint flowed, and the outlining, they're all very smiling and characterful. And then I noticed that actually it had nudes through it. But and I've done most of my webinars. This is in my house right now, actually, and I've done most of my webinars here, and it usually gets a good chatting about. And people sometimes worry about nudity, but I say, well, it's not exactly the same. If you've never been to Florence and you've seen David sitting there with his penis hanging out, well, it's nowhere near as graphic and as similar as what a real penis is. So it's no big deal.
No, also because people following us through the radio, they probably can't see the nudity, so they can just imagine. So it's all safe. So Chester, would you like to tell something about you to us, just a little bit, why you wanted to be the chief winemaker in Darenberg and where you are come from in terms of wine industry?
Sure, yes. So my great-grandfather bought the vineyard in 1912 in McLaren Vale. He was a director of Hardy's Wines, treasurer and director of Hardy's from 1881 until 1912. So we've actually been in the wine industry in McLaren Vale for over 140 years now. And so we're long-term been here. I always wanted to be a winemaker, and I studied winemaking. I worked from the age of 7 in the vineyard and the winery. My father has spent all of his life here in the winery, and his father. So yeah, we've all been here for a long time, and I've done now nearly 39 vintages. I've been chief winemaker at Darenberg.
Wow, 39 vintages. That is quite a good amount of time, I can say.
Yeah, I think I'm getting most of it worked out.
Well, you've seen a lot of changes, considering them, in the last 5 years, like 6 years, McLaren Vale industry has been changing quite a lot in terms of wine since you've been moving into the new facilities for Darenberg and the Cube, and became a spot to visit and to say McLaren Vale. And what do you think? It was a positive change for the local industry, in your opinion, the Cube, or it was direct on Darenberg and that's it?
Oh, look, when we built the Darenberg Cube, we opened it in 2017 in December. We had anticipated, we thought if we could get 3 or 4 times the number of people through the door, we were doing well, and we would pay for the building in a good reasonable amount of time. We ended up actually getting about 9 or 10 times the number of people through the door. And we were already the busiest tasting room before that in McLaren Vale. There are 100 wineries in McLaren Vale, so it's a busy, popular area. But there was a lot more people going to Barossa. And then the Darenberg Cube changed that considerably, and became all the restaurants down here now. There are 47 restaurants, and they now don't close during winter. Well, of course, I'm talking pre-COVID times. Everything's a little bit different now with COVID. That the eastern states are all closed down, so it is a little bit quieter this winter than what I would have liked. But no, it's gained a lot of reputation for us and increased sales a lot directly and indirectly.
Well, I had the opportunity to manage a cellar door for 2 years in McLaren Vale during this change, and I've noticed how the positive impact of the D'Arenberg cubes had into the industry. A lot of people began to look at McLaren Vale as a touristic place where to go, which was before, but after the cube, there was a big difference anyway. Could you please tell us a little bit about the Settlers distilleries, Settlers distillers, like I have your lovely Yuzu gin over here, because for what I remember, it did not start with D'Arenberg. It moved, it became part of the D'Arenberg family not long ago. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So it was started by a old friend of mine, actually, Roland Short, who started in 2006, 2016, I should say. It was a passion of his. He grew it quite rapidly to having quite a lot of gins, whiskies and rums and mixed drinks and whatever. And then he just got a bit old for it all. He's quite an elderly person to start such a big business or develop such a big business so quickly. And he approached me and he thought we were a good fit. I always got on with him. I always did want to make some spirits. We have a great international presence. He thought that was a huge thing. And so we eventually came to an agreement, and we purchased the company only a few months ago. And it's been a steep learning curve. He's been great in helping us out in understanding of distillation and all the others. We've got tins of tonic water as well, and mixed drinks, and as I say, whiskies, rums, vodka, coffee liqueurs, other liqueurs, and 13 gins. So it's been fantastic, and he's been great. He's produced a lot of very good gins that have won trophies and golds around the place. So he grasped it very quickly himself, and it's great. Anyway, we're having a lot of fun.
Yes, absolutely. I had the opportunity to have them at the Celador where I was working as a product. We were making gin and tonic with his gin. Obviously it's really nice to cooperate and work together in the area with local products. It makes it a bit more interesting for everyone. Curiosity, how was the impact of the for D'Arenberg, the impact of the Chinese wine ban that happened no long ago? It was a big impact, or you were in some way faced other direction quickly?
Well, yeah, look, China putting the big tariff obviously resulted in us losing all of our sales there. No one wants to buy wine with a 200 and something% tariff, so we lost all of our sales there. We were selling about 11% of our volume of the company there, but it was higher end wine, so 20% of our dollar sales were going there. So it probably maybe nearly 30% of our profit we lost.
Wow.
So it did have quite a significant impact. Fortunately, during the COVID times, people have been drinking still lots, and we picked up a lot of sales internationally. Not every country, but many countries. And our direct sales, everyone sitting at home was buying more direct. So we've made up a fair bit of that loss, but not in that super premium end as much as we'd like. And we were really growing very well in China. China was a booming market for D'Arenberg. We had 30 distributors. We had another 10 coming on board, ready to come on board, but of course that's all gone out the window now. So we were growing very quickly, doubling each year. So probably in some ways, if they put the tariff on in another 5 or 10 years, it may have been 80% of our business. I don't know. So I suppose we got out relatively free without having to reduce the company at all.
Yeah, that's one of the good things of, if you want to say, the positive side of the coin, which was that the company now it's able to see, okay, they could close the door, and that could be a problem. So it's better for us always organized to have what I can say, second outcome. What the other like the biggest market at the moment for you guys, is it Australia or it's overseas?
Well, definitely Australia now. Back in 2010, we were about 80% export with 90 countries. And now we're only about 50% export, mainly because America sort of went off Australia quite a lot. That's part of the reason. The other half of the reason is that our very more affordable wines, we put up a lot in price because it really wasn't an area we wanted to get that big in, being McLaren Vale fruit, which is relatively expensive. So that decreased that, but it put more emphasis on our more premium wines and super premium wines. So it's been a good result in the end. We haven't shrunk too much sales in fact, we're growing sales in all the premium areas where we wanted to. So our biggest market is Australia now at 50%, I think. Roughly. It's a bit hard to tell because of everything in COVID's changing a bit. But England's gone up a lot in recent times, and America's gone up quite a lot too. They're having difficulties actually getting containers. We're getting lots of problems with running out of stock in most countries in the world. It's quite difficult right now with the shortage of containers and the price of containers going up a lot, of course, with shipping. South Korea, I should say, has done really well for us too. They're really booming and very well in the really super premium area of $100 a bottle material. We're sending quite a lot of different wines. We do 20 odd wines that are over $100 a bottle, and they're buying quite a few of them. They're really having a lot of fun over there for some reason right now.
I had the opportunity to know a few people working in hospitality and the wine industry in Korea. They were quite passionate about, so I can understand why actually it's growing well. They were really sophisticated in their industry. So the choice of having the distillery coming with you in this journey was for diversified, or because there's a big trend in the distilling industry. I've noticed in the last 5 years there were distilling popping up like mushrooms anywhere all over South Australia. It's actually not a bad idea. You had the opportunity to find a local distillery. It became part of your portfolio. So now the Artisan Settlers Distillery will be sold through D'Arenberg channels, I assume.
Well, actually, we're Settlers Spirits. We've decided to keep a national distributor that was set up with Roland, Bid Foods, and they're doing a great job. Well, although during lockdown they're doing as not great a job as they'd like, of course, but they're a very big company that sells to a lot of smaller bars and stores and whatever. So we're excited to work with them. I've been doing webinars with them. That's great. So we're keeping our distribution there. Internationally, we are getting showing all of our agents, and there is some movement in some countries, about 3 or 4 countries already interested. So that's good. The reason we got into doing buying the distillery really is that I always wanted to be doing spirits. I quite enjoy them as more diversity of product. You can make great spirits and they're really fulfilling. So, I spent a lot of time in Scotland back in 1984. Also, over the years, I spent a fair bit of time in Tuscany and Piedmont, drinking lots of great grappa. And I'm not making grappa yet, but I'm looking forward to making a grappa. I suppose vodkas. Russia always gives me a bottle or 2 of vodka every year, and so they know I like really good slippery vodka. So and now gin has become the buzzword in Australia. It's the fastest growing category of alcoholic drinks of all age groups, except for the very youngest, where they're actually after seltzers, which is alcohol and water, but the next category is gin. So it made sense. And with China gone, we have, I suppose, a bit more time up our sleeve. I'm not going over to China, obviously. We're not traveling anywhere. And so it made sense. We've got all the infrastructure to manage and bottle and everything else. And we can just, our winemakers are being involved in the production of the spirits. So it made sense to diversify now. And there's really only 2 big distilleries in McLaren Vale. If you call them big, it's still not very big compared to many wineries. But that's Never and Settlers Spirits, and so this is why it was good timing. And Settlers Spirits, the cellar door, which is a lovely little place, and all the operations is only about 1.5 kilometers away from us, so from Darrenburg. So it's very handy.
Absolutely. I've been visiting a few times. It's nice, cozy place, and I found a lot of young people passionate about gin and speaking about. So it's really nice experience. So now, just to have an idea for the people that's following us on the different social platforms, what's the idea that is behind and what Darrenburg would like to move on? Would like to keep expanding and adding other companies to the portfolio, or they are looking to be more focused now on these two channels and move on? Considering you also have a restaurant over there that is going really well, so it's a lot of things involved already. Do you have an idea, or they already introduced you with that?
Look, it's a big range of spirits they're already making, but we will be growing the range. Some maybe will disappear if they. Some are, I suppose, a little bit strange and fill a hole in the market that is a very small market. But we're probably going to scrap a few things. But we're looking at quite a few extra products that we think that there's strong opportunity in, and the way that the spirits have been made in the past, we look very closely at everything that Roland was doing and just seeing if there's any tweaking we can do to make it a little better. There's all sorts of things. I never realized that spirits can age quite quickly, with gins particularly. The botanicals still oxidize, even though it's in the bottle, it's all there, and it's a spirit. They still disappear, and the color changes. If it's pink, it goes apricot relatively quickly. So we're trialing all sorts of ways to with CO2 or with keeping them cold, so that we can blend to make a better, fresher product all the time. So it's lovely and lively when we put it out there, and has the best balance. So one of the things that Settlers Spirits does quite different to many distilleries is that we actually do all the botanicals. We distill all the botanicals and we steep all the botanicals separately, and then keep them separate, and then blend to make the final product each time. And by doing this, it means that we gives us a much more flexibility in getting everything exactly the way we want it, a very streamlined character. And if something isn't as fresh, we can just go and do another distillation of that and put it together. And of course, as I mentioned, because they oxidize at different rates, some things in there, a year down the track, that gin will taste relatively different. And there might be some of the botanicals that will dominate, and the ones that you really wanted, some fresh lemon things and orange rind things, won't be there in the way you wanted it. So this gives us ability to make a more consistent product, and it actually goes the same way as what Darrenburg philosophy is, that we always keep every part of every vineyard separate, and we little tiny 5-ton fermenters, and then we put it into the barrels, and it stays in barrel for up to 2 years, and every barrel I taste, and we put together the blends not long before bottling, so that we end up with the perfect wine that I really have understood what the best product is. So there's a very similar ethos in thinking.
Okay, perfect. And just to finish before we end with this interview, I'm not aware what's the Darrenburg vision. Where would you like to go with Darrenburg? That is a big question.
Well, we're always aiming at the top level all the time. So if we can sell more $100, $200, $1,000 wines, we've got a $1,000 wine coming out. One we've been putting down for a while. It's not. We'll be coming out eventually. And I work with 37 grape varieties. I already make 78 different wines. Wow. Which actually is more than anyone in the world, apparently, for any single wine company that is under one brand. But I've got new things coming out all the time. We released a Fiano recently, a few months ago, and that's already sold out. And Fiano is very hot in McLaren Vale. And I'm putting Carmenere in this year, minor grape from Bordeaux for blending. And but there's I'm still after a few other varieties that I want to plant that I think could work very well in McLaren Vale. So we have a lot of things up our sleeve. I'm opening a jewelry store, a clothing men's clothing business, and building. I have some other buildings actually that I'm working on that are architecturally rather exotic and interesting down the track that should be fun eventually, but I can't tell you much about them yet.
Secret. We want to discover when it comes out. So we are speaking about a lot of innovation, a lot of art, a lot of expression. I like this concept of evolving constantly looking for improvement. It's really good mentality. Okay, so
I'm making lots of sculptures. COVID, of course, during COVID, we all had a bit of time at home, a bit more than usual. And the house is cleaner than it's ever been. And I tidied up all of my garage a lot better so that I can find all of the pieces of junk, I suppose you could call them. But I collect a lot of weird things to make junk art out of, actually. So I'm finishing about a sculpture every week, basically, that is a whole collage of junk or a Dorbism or something that so tells the story of Darrenberg and each of the wines individually as well. So I've written a book that's going to be coming out soon. It's almost finished. It's with 2 science fictions in it, and all of these sculptures and all of the art relating to the cube. It'll all be about the cube. So that's been a COVID project as well.
And then all the wine and all the gins and the other distillates, and busy are we? Huh?
Well, yeah, I work on the philosophy. We're a long time 6 feet under.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so thank you very much for being with us on the Ag Adventures channel for this episode of Ag Adventures, and see you next time over here on the channel.
Cheers.
Ciao.